African Committee meeting of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association was the Vice President of Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Mahamood Bawumia. In a statement said that African region, which is to promote and protect the interest and perspective of CPA African Regional Parliament and countries into Commonwealth and beyond, and to promote gender equality, emancipation of women and respect for human rights, freedoms, democracy and good governance. According to the Vice President, he urged the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association African region to continue to champion the resolution of constitutional issues facing the CPA, including the particular issue of its status as a charity organization.
Guard against our democratic gains, since you are directly in contact with your constituents at all times. Speaker, these can best be achieved when you harness your collective effort in furtherance of the public interest. It is also important to remind ourselves that as political leaders, we have the responsibility to build the confidence of our people in democratic governance by demonstrating selfless leadership. The GDP of Africa is about $2.7 trillion. And this makes Africa, as one economy, the fifth largest economy in the world. However, we must not lose sight of the fact that Africa continues to be the weakest link in the world economic order. Intra-African trade, convergence of our currencies, at least on the sub-regional basis, and the easing of national border restrictions, open skies policies are some of the ways we can create more homogeneous political and economic units for our economy. It is in this regard that I consider the opportunity offered by the AFCFTA very unique for us to begin to adopt policies to vigorously promote trade amongst ourselves. Just a couple of months ago, I had the honor of launching the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System, PAPS. This is a payments and settlement system which allows for the settlement of trade transactions amongst African countries in local currency. So we don't need anymore to go through third-party currencies to resolve or to settle our trade amongst ourselves. So you can pay in cedis and import something from Kenya, or someone can pay in Kenyan shillings and import something from Botswana, and it will be settled. And this is a major innovation, major policy that is going to help us as far as trade in Africa is concerned. And this is now operational. We worked on it for a few years. We piloted it in the West African Monetary Zone, and it is now operational. And it is being championed by Afro-Exim Bank along with the central banks. It's so major. In fact, I have described it as the most important development in monetary affairs in Africa since 1963. Mr. Speaker, this agenda, if well pursued, will not only boost Africa's trading position in the global market, but also strengthen Africa's common voice and policies space in global trade negotiations, a key factor which appears to be missing in our engagement in world trade and economic order. Mr. Speaker, despite these modest gains, we should not relent in our efforts to ensure increased representation and participation of not only women, but all vulnerable groups in order to make democratic governance and social strata more reflective of the social strata of society, including Ghana, where women and other marginalized people are underrepresented, must interrogate their constitutions to find the rightful solutions to increase women representation in parliament. Mr. Speaker, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought in its wake many challenges with economic and political implications. Not unexpectedly, countries in Africa bore the brunt of these challenges.
Speaking at the event was the treasurer for CPA Africa region, Honorable Lieutenant Toby Menkwe, stated that there's an assurance that African will be able to produce their own COVID-19 vaccine, which has been implemented in South Africa.
So through that alone, I think we will go somewhere. One of the, if I can make an example of one of the resolutions, is to ensure that Africa, we have our own COVID-19 pandemic medicine. And we have started as a continent. I know that in South Africa, for example, there are decisions, there are plans that are now manufacturing the vaccines. So I think we're getting somewhere, and we'll continue as parliamentarians to pursue and force our governments to ensure that they do those things. Reminder is that in one of the conferences, we demanded that the constitution of the CPA International should be changed to allow the CPA to be an international body. That resolution was taken when we were in Bangladesh, and that is being pursued. Safe to say, we are unable to check whether it is now in the constitution because the international conference didn't sit last year. But going to the international conference, we said we must ensure that the status of the CPA is embedded in the constitution of the CPA.
Also speaking at the event was the president for CPA African Region, Honorable Dr. Abbas Chimobundu, said it is important to increase the need of the representation in the parliament.
The CPA has to reflect, and Parliament, by extension, have to reflect the composition of our respective populations. Women and other disadvantaged components are underrepresented. I think it's important that we pay attention to increasing the need, the imperative fact of increasing their representation. For example, in my own parliament, Sierra Leone, out of a membership of 132, excluding parliament chiefs, 132 elected, we have only 16 women, which is a gross misrepresentation of the women population in our country. We're now striving to increase that significantly. But the first past the post system is not very friendly a method for ensuring and increasing women's representation. So we're looking at that to see whether another system might not give us a better result. Common, and I think they are good values: democracy, the rule of law, respect for human rights. I mean, these are all values that we inherited, and I believe they're enduring, and they should be continued in our respective jurisdictions. The CPA itself, I think, should now move irretrievably towards establishing itself as an international organization rather than remaining as a charitable organization under British law. It's come a long, long way. That has to be transformed for the benefit of the organization itself and for the benefit of CPA.
According to the member of the parliament for Kita, Honorable Jifa Gamazi, in a statement said that she's looking forward to that woman who indeed ready to break the bias in order to add more value that the worlds are waiting to see.
I want to see real progress. I'm tired of the tokenism. I'm tired of the struggles women today go through, and the name tagging and the labeling. It's all part of the socialization. If you're socialized not to appreciate hard work, then you call a hard-working woman Margaret Thatcher, you call her Bab Dindi or Babema, and all these names that diminish the energy and the passion of women who want to dare to break the barriers. So indeed, let us break the bias in real terms, in the way in which we groom our boys and girls, in the way in which we socialize both men and women. They all have to understand that it is important for the two creations of God, both man and woman, we bring something to the table. Let's just tap into it and leave the negative cultural and traditional practices that limit the strides that women are making. Look, there's no human born that did not go in a woman's womb, right? I mean, all the people who are doing well, if the woman didn't nurture you, feed you, support you, would you get that far? Every president has their wives beside them. They add some value. They go to work. They know that a woman is home. They're taking care of the home. Let that work the woman does count.
According to the Vice President for CPA International, Honorable Sumaya, said that the main agenda of CPA is to ensure that women were being carried along in order to up the improvement that African is waiting for.
Achieving all acceptable. Now, we are having a Commonwealth Day very soon. In fact, all that is needed is going to be availed by all the countries of Commonwealth. I, as a Nigerian, we are also working towards that. Definitely, Commonwealth is a forum that is going to bring economic prosperity, democratic and good governance in all our. A subject to be reviewed and changed. It's not complete change, but it's a review of certain clauses and certain sections of law to go along with present day, to conform with the current aspiring and needs of the people. So therefore, there's nothing wrong about it. It's only information on what situation. Yeah, is always because the mainstream agenda of the part of the agenda of the CPA is to ensure that yes, women are being carried along for gender equality as a state. And as I'm telling you, many countries in Africa have already achieved so much, and all those that have not achieved are also coming up to ensure that it all requires sensitization, education, to ensure that yes, women are carried along, women and youth particularly. So definitely we're expecting it, and those are going to add a flesh to whatever decision parliamentarians and parliaments are going to take.
Okay, we give a smile.